Well, lads, what's the crack? And welcome back to another episode here of the Orchardby podcast. And of course, with the Armagh County team, the league's wrapped up, championship in 3 weeks' time, but 3 weeks is a long wait. So, in place of that, of course, we have got coming up the start of the 2026 club campaign here in the county. And I am, of course, as always, joined by Andrew Larkin. So, firstly, Andrew, hope you're doing well. And of course, you're a big advocate of club football here in County Armagh. So, do you just want to tell us briefly the importance you feel in the club leagues in Armagh and the importance for people to get out and support their clubs this early on in the season?
It's like I've always said, these county players don't appear on the scene overnight. They're developed in their clubs from under 8s, under 10s, 12s, 14s, 16s, minors. Club is where it's at. You will go and you'll see players that you maybe anybody that's watched county football for years can spot a county player playing in a club league, and you're getting in for about £5 something, and it's not small money, and it's a bit of crack. And I actually do prefer the club leagues at the moment because some great games, you see, some great scores, and a bit of crack with your mates, and it doesn't cost you much, and it's where all these players are being developed at the moment. So it's very, very important that people get out and support their local clubs because it breathes life back into the GA and the county and Armagh. And people maybe haven't been to club games in years, maybe used to go years ago, will come back now with the resurgence of the championship as well last year. So I've seen faces I hadn't seen in a long, long time just because of the hype of the championship. Last 2 years has been unreal, even in the club leagues. But now it's getting a wee bit more promotion within the county board and social media likes of ourselves and stuff. There's more crowds going, and I think that can only benefit Armagh football.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, the club leagues are very good. And Andrew, on your page, obviously, you do advocate for that quite a lot. One thing you were letting me know about before, just to start off the podcast with before we start recording here was, and I suppose it sort of does link in with what I've just asked you, of course, as well. And that was you wanted to change the fixture dates of the club leagues. Now, currently, the majority of club matches in Armagh during the league phase are Friday nights, of course. You got the odd one during the week. You get maybe one or two on the weekend as well. But you wanted to see the games being played on Saturday and Sundays instead of weekdays, Friday nights and stuff. So
Yeah,
I just want to, can you talk a bit about that? And do you think maybe that's also affecting the availability of certain people from attending those club matches as well, I suppose?
I think it is, Killian, to be honest with you, because although Friday night games suit people, but you look at it this way, you're an amateur player. These lads are working through the week, either on building sites or in offices, factories, teachers, you name it, wherever they are. And these games throw in at 7:30, 7:45, maybe 7 o'clock. If you're not quitting your work at 5 o'clock, maybe half 5, 4, whatever it is, and say you're playing for Cross and you've a fixture up in Lurgan, Clonard, you have to get into the house, say you get into the house half 5, you have 2 hours to get up the road. In Friday traffic, that doesn't give you much time to get into Lurgan. It doesn't give you much time for a warm-up. It doesn't give you much time for anything. I think it should be a game day preparation from you get up in the morning till you go to the game, and it should be like that because at the moment it's an amateur sport with a professional attitude. Some of these intermediate clubs have got video analysis from training, from games. So the clubs are taking it seriously, the players are taking it seriously. So the county board has to act accordingly and move games to Sundays or Saturdays because it brings a better crowd. It gives the lads more time to prepare. I know there's an argument about not having a weekend, but these county players or club players don't have a weekend because they're taking it seriously. It's an attitude, there's a drinking band and stuff like that there's going on, and they need preparation time, and you're not getting any preparation on a Friday. That's my opinion. It might be controversial. Some people might say no, some people might say yes. But I think if you're going to have a professional attitude towards sport, make it professional, make it that you're preparing from your game. From you get up in the morning, do you go to that game at 7:30 at night? That's just my opinion.
Okay, well, you've made some good points there, Andre, in my opinion, but I would counter with a few things. Number one, you're talking about playing the majority of matches on the weekend. That does heavily increase the chance of clashing with county games, and obviously, Armagh's got one of the best sports in the country. Many of those players from clubs, many of those people from within those clubs who would be attending those matches might be looking to travel up and down the country, go to home matches, etc. So it does increase the chances of that. And I know the county does clash with club in quite a lot of counties, but for Armagh especially, where the county team is so big at the minute, especially nowadays, simply for me that doesn't work. Secondly, too, the way I look at it is as well, these club players are training throughout the week as well. And those times vary. They could start at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7, even 8, and it eats into their day as well. So, like, I mean, they're already training during the week 4 or 5 nights a week. Even I've been hearing from some clubs during the winter there. So, like, the way I look at it is, I mean, Friday night's a good way for players to, let off the steam from the week and, play a football match, which, of course, I love doing. And I mean, like, playing a match could reduce the amount of training sessions in a week from 1 to 2 by about 1 or 2 training sessions as well. So it could definitely decrease the overall availability needed during the week too. And it definitely, I do believe the majority of players do actually enjoy playing Friday night games. Of course, as it is a very good way to load off the steam there. So taking those factors into consideration, Andrew, would you change your mind, or would you still be for games on the weekend instead of a Friday night?
Um, you make a great point there, Killian. You would have to avoid clashes with county, obviously. Maybe run a longer league. I don't know, but it's still not giving players enough time to prepare for the games. If you're finishing work at 5 o'clock, training, you're right next to your doorstep. But if you're traveling from South Armagh to North Armagh, it still doesn't give you enough time. I'm thinking maybe towards your opinion as well, where Friday night suits everybody, but it doesn't suit the revenue of the club. You know what I mean? They're getting bigger gates on Saturdays or Sundays towards, Friday night, where people's rushing back from work and maybe only getting into the second half and not paying in and stuff like that there. So if I'm looking at it from a club point of view, I would say they would benefit from playing Saturdays or Sundays. But if you're looking from a player point of view, if you're from your point of view, I think they're going to continue with the Friday nights. But I don't think it'll change in the near future. But it's something I would need looked at if it can be worked around with the county.
Yeah, generally, I think, when you get in the championship, you probably see a bit more weekend matches too, with
Yeah,
the county season being over as well. But I mean, I suppose during the summer too, it's not too bad because it stays brighter for longer. And, overall, like, I mean, some of the nights you get on those Friday nights, the weather's brilliant.
yeah,
And on days like that, when the weather's brilliant and players been working all day, the first thing they want to do most that evening is go out and play match football. So yeah, we've made some good points there. That definitely is an interesting argument. But what would you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. We are going to get on to our predictions for Division 1A, Division 1B, 2A, 2B, and Division 3 as well. But before we do, Andrew, just one more thing. Obviously, I have noticed a bit of a structure change to the Armagh leagues this year. Now,
yeah,
over the past few years, there's been 6 divisions, including Div 3A, Div 3B. Those 2 divisions, being the 2 biggest overall, have been combined now. But the big change is reserve teams are no longer competing against actual clubs. There's now a separate reserve league, so likes of Cross Seconds, Clonard Seconds, who are both excelling so well, alongside the new teams who came in last year, Armagh Harps Bees, Clonagale Bees, Silver Bridge Bees, etc. They're all now in a separate league, and the leagues now are just solely one club, one team per club, really. So, yes, maybe that's decent enough because the reserve teams play each other in their own separate league, and the actual clubs play each other without playing any reserve teams. But I mean, you look at Clonard and Seconds last year, and they were absolutely excelling in the championship. Cross
yeah.
McGlen
Very
Seconds
good.
too are the exact same. So, what would your opinion be there? Are you in agreement with that, or would you keep it the same way, keep the B teams in the senior leagues? What's your opinion there? Because it definitely is a very interesting structure change.
It's a 50-50 one for me because, as you know, cross seconds have been there for years, so have Clonard seconds. I think Clonard have a panel of maybe 60, 70 players, and that they have to get minutes. I would be in favour of keeping them in the leagues they are at the moment, in a reserve league and a reserve championship, because, but then when you look at that reserves, they're not too far off senior players, no actual A team or A firsts. And I know if you play seconds, you can't play firsts, and sometimes maybe player availability. Um, I think it'd make it a very competitive league. It'd be a bit of crack, I think. I do think, well, it's a tough one to answer, but I think they keep it the same way now. The three be the reserve league and the reserve championship, because even in the reserve championship, you're playing against county players, if you know what I mean. Like Clonard seconds played Grange last year, and they played in the intermediate championship, I think. And Cross, obviously, they played. I think it was intermediate as well. But if you're in a junior, if you're in a reserve league, you have a chance of winning the reserve league, and you have a chance of winning the reserve championship. It's another championship. You reserve, then junior, intermediate, senior. I think that's the way it works. So I'd be all in favour of making it a very competitive reserve league and reserve championship. That's where I'm at, because again, you're playing seasoned club players. Well, these guys are maybe only 20, 21, and they're getting a bit of experience playing and against their peers. It's another step. Say it's a step up from under 20s. So he's saying you're under 23 or 24. If you cap it round that age, the team round that age, and then step them up from 24 to 20 into the firsts, then that would work well. I think it's another step up through the ranks of the age groups.
Yeah, it is definitely another interesting argument there. But my one thing would be maybe like Connor and Seconds across Milan Seconds especially have both excelled in the senior leagues. The rest of the second teams have done all right in Division 3B, however, they haven't really reached the same level as those two teams.
Right.
My one worry would be, would a reserve championship get a bit one sided? Would we just be seeing Connor and Seconds win every year, Cross Seconds win every year? Or do you think maybe an Armagh Harps or a Clonagale could compete well with the likes of Clonard and Cross, and could it still be a competitive championship regardless?
You make a correct point there, but if you kept the reserve championship at a certain age level, say you kept it under 25, the reserve championship, you can only play players that was under 25. It would limit likes of Cross and say Clonard. I think Clonard seconds last year, I think, were all in around 21, 22. They just stepped up from minor and 21s. I think it would be very competitive. I do. I actually do think if you made that stipulation where you couldn't play players over the age of 25 in the reserve championship, I think it would make it a very, very good championship and league as well, because it's a tough one to say, because you're playing next against Redmond O'Hanlon's, Thomas Davis, Blake, uh, you name White Cross, they're all playing the same league, Ballyhagan. So, yeah, keep it at a reserve championship, keep it competitive, maybe even try it out for a couple of years, and if it does get like a cakewalk for Cross or Clonard, then revert back to the old style, because they can do it. I think I think they'll try it for a year to see how it goes, and if teams are getting a thumping, they're going to say, "Here, look, we're going to have to go back to what we're used to."
Yeah, well, listen, it's definitely a very interesting change of the structure there, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it does go on, because I do believe there's quite a few good reserve teams in there, of course,
Yeah,
with Harps, Clonagale, Silver Ridge, etc., alongside likes across
St
Glen
Peters,
Connor and too.
St Peters have a very good second team as well.
St. Peters as well. Like these teams are definitely good. And Drummond T seconds too, with good young
Yeah,
core coming up as well. It will be competitive, but We're now going to focus on the senior leagues, and we are now going to get on to our predictions. And we're going to start off then with the top flight and work our way down. So starting off then with Division 1A, and I'll start off with you, Andrew, and we're going to compare our predictions as we do go down. So starting off then, Division 1A, relegation, who are the two clubs you have said are going to experience a drop to Division 1B?
This is a tough one because it's Division 1A is going to be tough this year. But I think it's between Division 1A and Division 1B. It's going to be the toughest league. But I have went for Cullerville and Mullaban to fight out relegation. That's I think that's not a bad prediction myself. Mullaban didn't do too badly last year. Well, they did. They were pretty poor enough in Division 1A. They survived last year. Cullerville only up from Division 1B. I think they'll go straight back down. I think it's because Division 1A last year was very competitive. You had Clevey, you had Madden, you had Clonerne, Armagh Harps, PSOs as well. But yeah, Mullaban and Cullerville, they were relegated.
And I'm going to agree with you there, Andrew. I have got Mullaban in the 8th place and Cullerville in 7th place. Mullaban were in a relegation battle last year, survived just by the skin of their teeth. On the last match, I do believe it was, they actually lost the last match away to the Harps. I was at that match, but I believe Clonagale also lost their last match, and
Yeah,
that meant Clonagale went down and Mullaban did survive. But from seeing them there, I wasn't too impressed by them. I mean, they're okay. They had some good players, had decent spells in the match, but for an entire 60 minutes, they just weren't all there, in my opinion. So I think they might be hit by a bit of second season syndrome this year, and I can't see
yeah.
Mullabon getting relegated. Cullerville, I think, will also go down. Listen, I think there definitely is a young core of Cullerville coming through there. They had a good under 21 campaign a few years
Yeah.
ago. I do recall they've got a few good under 21 squads there coming through now in the senior, but my thing probably would be they're a bit inexperienced at the top flight. I think they definitely will not go down without a fight, and neither will Mullabon probably, but I think both these sides probably will be getting relegated. In 6th place then, Andrew, just about surviving the drop, who have you gone for there?
Armagh Harps. I know that'll be controversial with you. I think it was either Armagh Harps or Cullyhanna, and I think Cullyhanna might just have the edge on the Harps with just for experienced players. Yeah, Harps in 6th place.
I'm going to agree with you again there, Andrew. I've got the Harps in 6th as well for the second year in a row. Obviously, I'm a Harpsman myself, and I do believe we will survive the drop. Obviously, Pascal Canavan, after a few years, we didn't really make too much progress under the Errol Kieran man, and he is now gone. The new man in the hot seat at Abbey Park is John Toole, the last manager who won us the county championship, I do believe it was, back in 2017. So, an appointment from within the club, and an appointment which has already had previous success a number of years ago too. So in my opinion, that's a decent appointment there. And I think, there has been good work being done there in pre-season. I think the B team actually has been very good in pre-season there. But the A team especially too has also been very good. Conor McCann, watch out for him in nets this year. I'm not sure if Dingle will be starting in nets, but I do believe Conor McCann probably should be, because he excelled brilliantly in the reserve championship last year. He scored that winning point, obviously, in dramatic fashion in the final there against Clonagale to win the Beza championship there. He's been brilliant, and for me, he definitely should be starting there. But overall, there still is a good mix of young players coming through and experienced players in there as well. With experience, you've got the likes of Minnie McShane, Tom O'Kane, Joe McElroy. He won't be there during the league anyway. But you've also got them Sean Farry at the back line. You've got the McCoys in the forward line as well, and then a couple of good young players like Sean Kelly, who's an Armagh under 20. Again, he's a brilliant player to watch out for there as well. So there's definitely good young players coming through there at the Harps, and I think we will be in a relegation battle, honestly. But I think we will survive just about, finishing in 6th place there. And I think overall that's going to set us on course for what hopefully is going to be a successful championship campaign. Looking at my table then, Andrew, 5th place and 4th place and even 3rd place then as well. Who have you got in those three positions?
I've went for Cullyhanna in 5th, and this is going to be a controversial one, and people may fall out with this one. I've went with Clevey in 4th, and I've went for Clonerne in 3rd. Just because Clevey, I think, might be second season syndrome. I think they took advantage last year in Division 1A where players were missing, county players, and they, under Stevie McDonald, played some great football, and Shea McGill and Nets, and they were just a joy to watch. I watched them 2 or 3 times last year, especially against Clonerne, and they got over the line. They're a very tough team to break down, a very tough team to beat. They're well drilled. Stevie McDonald, unbelievable coach. I actually thought he'd gone into the Armagh setup this year. I think they'll benefit again from another year with Stevie, but I have them in fourth. Clonerne, can they get back to the heights that they did a couple of years ago? I think they're thereabouts, but a lot of young players and a lot of inexperienced players, and they've lost a few. They've lost McCoo and Liam O'Carroll into the 20s, so that'll be a big blow for the seniors there. And I think Clonerne this year could be more of a championship team than a league team. Cullyhanna up from Division 1B, played well in championship last year. Didn't really see much of them in the league, but I think they will be mid-table. I think they are that good. Former All-Ireland Intermediate champions, and they are a Division 1A team, and I think they'll cement their place in there at 5th place.
Interesting calls there. Fifth place, I've gone for Calevi. I do agree with your call there about Calevi having second season syndrome. I saw them play against the Harps in Abbey Park, and I was amazed by how good they were. Amazing attacking football. That's just the least you expect from a side coached by one of Armagh's greatest forwards, and Stevie McDonald, obviously.
Yeah,
But it still is a very young squad there. I believe they could be missing a few players of the county panel this year. Shea McGill, he could still be in and around there. It'll be interesting to see if he'll play much. Fergal O'Brien, is he Calevi as well?
I think so.
So
Or is he no, he's Mullabon, is he not?
I feel like he could be Mullabon there, but I feel like Calevi still have a few players who are currently around the county setup, and I think the loss of them will affect them too. And so, yeah, I just think they will drop off a wee bit this year, but I think they still will be comfortably mid-table and fifth there. Fourth place, then I'm going to go for St. Pat's Cullyhanna. I think they're going to have a good bounce behind them after a very good championship campaign last year. Obviously without the likes of Duffy and Ross McQuillan too, but there still is a good squad there, some very good sharpshooters as well, and there still is good experience there in that Culliana squad, and I think they will definitely impress in their first year back in Division 1B. And in third place then, I am going to go for actually Cross McGlen here. Now, I probably would prefer to finish this, or I probably would prefer to maybe switch this maybe with Clonerne now that I've heard what you've had to say about Clonerne, but I'm going to stick by it anyway. Obviously they're going to be missing quite a lot of players. Aaron O'Neill's going to be missing for them this year as well in the league, so that once again will present another big loss there. And I mean, there still is quality in there. There still is experience too, but in my opinion, they might just fall short of the top two here. It still will be a decent campaign. They still will be challenging anyway. They still will be playing good stuff. However, I think maybe one or two poor results here and there will prevent them from finishing in top two. And so I'm going to say then Cross and Glen will finish in third place. Top two then, Andrew. Give me your predictions.
I think the Ultras are going to fall out with this one. I've went for Madden in second, and I've went for Cross as winning it. Now, Madden will have Niall Grimley, Conor Grimley, Sheridan. Excellent, excellent team. I tipped them to win Division 1A last year, and they let me down. It could be reversed, depending on the first couple of games, but I think Cross this year are going to be real dangerous. You've got Ronan Fitzpatrick there, a corner forward, certain Mr. O'Neill, I think, might be playing, because reports have been hearing the last couple of games he's been playing. And he's been scoring points, 2 points, etc. And I think the hurt of the championship last year and the hurt in the league, losing the championship to Cullyhanna, and Ronan Fitzpatrick could be the player for them this year on the McEntees. I do think Cross are going to get back to like glory days, and I don't think it's too long before they win Armagh County title, and I think they might start this year with Division 1A title. That's not to say Madden won't do it, but it all depends on how they start the league. They got off to a great start last year. I think they went for, was it 5 or 6 unbeaten in the league, and then just fell away. But it could all happen again this year. But I think it's going to be a fantastic league to watch Division 1A, and I think it's going to be a titanic struggle to get the Division 1A title. And it could go either way. I just slightly favour Cross because of the hurt, and they want to get their title back, and they don't like losing their Division 1A title.
There you go. Andrew's predicting Cross McGlenn to win the title there. Obviously, I've got them in third place. I'm going to stick them in third place. It could be very tight still. You did mention Rian O'Neill could be playing for Cross. And while maybe in the early match, that could be a massive benefit for Cross McGlenn, obviously. From what I've heard, eventually it does seem like we could very well see him playing for the county team this year. And so that could mean the majority of the league campaign could be spent without him. So because of that, I think that might affect him a wee bit and slipped in just about the third place. Second place for me, then I've gone for Clonerne. I think Clonerne, they're a very good squad, and they're still
Yeah.
obviously without Turbo, without TK, without Barry McCambridge too, and Daniel McGee as well.
McGee.
Is he still with the county team
I
or?
think he's coming back to. I think he's out injured at the minute with Armagh. I think he's due back pretty soon. It's a big loss for Clonerne, and Ryan Meehan. He is it Ronan? I can't remember. I know it's a by main ginger haired fella. He's injury prone, but he's a very, very good player for Clonerne. His versatile plays midfield, half forward. Then you've Sean Kelly as well. Wee Rogie McVeigh up front. Owen Mulholland and Nats. And sometimes they play him outfield. They could get a run up the gap, but I just don't see it. I think they've lost a few key players at that level going to the under 20s. And as you say, the bulk of the squad is, or the main brain of the squad is in the county panel, where you Barry, Turbo, TK, Daniel McGee, Sean McCarthy. It's a bit tough for them to win the league this year, I think. But saying that, they could do it. It may prove me wrong, but that's why I have them in third.
Yeah, I think Daniel McGee, sorry, is actually a very underrated player too, and of course he'll be a
Yeah.
massive loss. Clonerne seem to have got a lot of county players, so that definitely will affect them a lot. And because of that, I do not think they will win the league, but I think they might just about have enough to slip past Cross McGlenn. And in first place, then I am predicting Madden, the current reigning county champions, to win the league this year. I think their squad at the minute is looking very strong. I mean, unlike other teams, they haven't lost too many players of the county panel. It's just Darren McMullen, but they've got Niall Grimley playing for them this year, alongside Connor Grimley, Joe Sheridan too. In general, their backline still, there's no losses there as well, which is massive, and still they have got a very good forward line there as well. So, I mean, Madden have fallen short for a few years in a row now, and have been very unlucky during the league campaign usually, but I'm going to say things finally do fall their way this year round, and I'm going to back Madden to win the Division 1A title. So, me and Andrew both agree that Culleval and Mullabon will get relegated. Andrew is predicting Cross McGlenn to win the league. I am predicting Madden to win the league. So there are the Division 1A predictions. Moving on then to Division 1B. Starting off with the two relegated sides again, Andrew, who would you go for?
This could be tough because I have it written down here, but maybe going to change my mind. My mate Stephen's going to fall out with me. If you like mystery kits, I think he's going to fall out with me. I've went for Sarsfields and Tully Sorn to be relegated.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you there. I've got Tully Sarn in the 8th place. I know there's a few lads there in school who won't be thanking me for that, of course, sort of being a part of that Tully Sarn squad as well there. And I have gone for Sarsfields in 7th there too. Tully Sarn, fair play to them. They've done very well to get promoted to senior football. But from what I have heard, they're definitely, I mean, the large bulk of their senior squad are quite old. So I think because of that, they might lose a bit of legs there. But then again, still, it is a big enough squad. I just can't see them staying up, honestly. And
No.
Sarsfields too. I think Sarsfields probably have a better chance of staying up, in my opinion, but I can't see it. I think they're also just promoted as well, aren't they, from Division 2A?
Yeah. This
Yeah,
is their
so
centenary season, and it's their first year in years playing senior football, so that might spur them on. You never know. Let's get a good start in the league, it'll stand to you, but their first game's against Mahry in Sarsfields, and Mahry only relegated from Division 1A will have a point to prove. So that's why I have them in 8th place. But you look at a good team, good run the championship last year. The McGills, um, I think they disappointed themselves in the Ulster Championship, and I think they could have won that game that day. But it's getting up for seniors, say from intermediate to senior status. It's a big jump because your intermediate level players and senior level players are two different animals. You know what I mean? So that's why I went for Sarsfield and Tullysarn. Tullysarn have a good crop of young players, but they are inexperienced at senior level, and that's why you have them in seventh. But saying that, they could surprise a lot of people because they played really well last year, and I just don't see it. I just don't see it.
Yeah, so me and Andrew both predicting the two newly promoted sides to get relegated there. I think Sarsfields do have a good squad. However, I think they'll just about will miss out on survival, and I think then both those sides will drop. And one message to the Tullysaran ones who might be mad at that prediction. If you're mad at it, why don't you come on the podcast and let us know your
Like
opinions there. So moving on then to mid-table, sixth place to third place. Who are your picks there?
I've went for Greenmore, then Cruppen, and then Silver Bridge. I think Cruppen are a good side. Also, Silver Bridge only relegated from Division 1A. That's why I put them mid-table. I just think they're not firing all cylinders. They weren't firing all cylinders last year, and I think maybe they could end up dropping the Division 2A, but it won't be this year. Greenmore, I think they come up from 2A last year as well, but they played really well last year in that division, and I can see them saving themselves. And Carcroppen, you just don't know what you're going to get with Carcroppen. They're a very good side on their day, but they're very inconsistent. And I have them mid-table in Division 2, Division 1B.
Interesting once again there. Sixth place then for me. I'm going to agree with you once again, Andrew. I've got Greenmore in there. Greenmore, very solid senior side, and I think they will just about retain their senior status for another year. However, the squad definitely is aging. It's past its peak, which got to the county final in 2022. So yeah, I think Greenmore, their time in the senior level of football here in the county could be nearing its end. That's not to say they can reinstate it after they do get relegated, maybe in a few years' time. But I think this year around they will survive in sixth place there. Fifth place then, I'm going to go for Drummond I mean, yes, Drummond have have one of the best young teams maybe the county's ever seen coming through now. However, I believe, it's going to be too early for that to really translate into big results here in Division 1B. A lot of those players could already maybe be on the under 20 panel. They could maybe just be playing a year in the reserve leagues. And in general, Drummond have had a very poor few years. So because of that, I do believe they might struggle still. However, it might just be enough to get them in the mid-table here and just away from the relegation zone. In fourth place then, I am going to go for Mahary. I think Mahary, did it very well. They just narrowly survived last year, but now looking at them in the championship, they had big improvements there. They were putting the group to death with the likes of Clonagale in there too, and I forget who the other teams there were in the group with them as well. However, the top that group, which I was absolutely amazed by, and a big win there on the Loch Shore against Clonagale too, a match you were at too, I do believe, Andrew,
Yeah,
there as
yeah, I was,
well.
yeah.
So I think,
Brilliant atmosphere,
yeah, I think
brilliant game.
I think Mahari definitely are a decent side, and I think that championship campaign will bring them on a lot. And because of that, I'm going to say they have a very good position here in fourth place. Third place, then, I don't think you said your third place, Andrew, but in third place, I have gone for Silverbridge, just about missing out on promotion back to Division 1A. Obviously, it was a very poor year for them last year, only 4 points after around 14 games in Division 1A, which really was a poor show in there, and then getting grouped in the championship as well, I do believe it was pretty poor by their standards as well. So it was a very poor year all around for Silverbridge, but they still do have good players in there. I'm looking at Tiernan Murphy in the forward line. He definitely is the standout there for them, in my opinion, too. So I think Silverbridge will look at much more improved here, and I think they will manage to wind up in the promotion race. However, I'm going to say they do miss out there. But who have you got in third place then, Andrew?
I've won for Mahara. The simple fact is, there's no Park O'Keefe. They've lost Farker for this year. They've got Kieran Higgins back. I think Sparky Farker's playing again. They are a very good side, and they just miss out on the top two for me because I just don't see them being a Division 1A side. I think Division maybe 1B is their level, but they need to get players back in, and they need, if they got full strength, if they played the way they played in Championship last year, certainly Division 1A. But I thought that a very poor campaign last year, and I think it'll carry on in the Division 1B this year, with especially the loss of O'Keefe. O'Keefe was a very good player, for he was a driving force in the forward line for them. But Kieran Higgins back could be the makings of Mahary this year, and they're a very proud
He's a
team, a
huge
very
player.
proud, very, very proud club. I think he still could do a job at county. He could
Mhm.
drive them this year, and I think it's either second or third for me with Mahary, but I just have them in third, or I just have a sneaking suspicion they'll finish third.
Just want to touch there briefly. Kieran Higgins still being in it for county. I 100% agree with that. He really hasn't appeared over the past few years. He's obviously retired now from county, but in the past, like, what, 5, 6 years, he only really made one appearance. I do remember that was against Galway in Cork and Shannon. He was putting Damien Comer, and he had Damien Comer in his back pocket that entire match there
Yeah.
as well in Leitrim. And I just have been absolutely dumbfounded the fact he has not been utilised more for some of the top forwards in the country. Like, I feel like we definitely should have utilised him a lot more. However, unfortunately, that ship is now sailed, and I wish Higgins the best of luck, of course, for his campaign with Mahary. Top two then, Andrew. Who you saying gets promoted, and who have you got winning the Division 1B title?
Drummond he finished second, and the Clowns to finish top of the league and league winners. I think Drummond he, as you pointed out, a very young side, very good side at all age levels, minor, under 20, and now senior. I think they're ready to make that step up. I think they're ready to go to Division 1A. Quality all over the pitch. They play as a unit, and the winners unit, and the losers unit, but I can't see them losing many games this year. I think they will go and finish in second. As for the Clans were disappointed in last year in Division 1A, but I think that was a lot to do with the lost 7 players under the under 20s. I think Bumpy had seven of their main players, the kindergarten clans as they call them, in the under 20s. Say Murphy, Callum O'Neill, Lavery. And now Callum O'Neill's obviously with the seniors panel this year, but they have Lavery and all in there, and Shea Murphy and Nets. I think it's their time to shine. And I think the Clans could be a force to be reckoned with over the next couple of years in Armagh football, because they've put that in place. They call them the kindergarten clans, and it's all coming to fruition now, where they're all sitting at senior level or under 20 level. And they had a fantastic year last year, and they'll continue this year. And I think they will win Division 1B.
Okay, then, interesting. Their second place for me, I have gone for a side who you had finishing in mid-table. That side is Car Cruppen. I'm going to say Car Cruppen are ready to make that step up to Division 1A. And yes, they can be inconsistent. I think that was definitely evident at times in last year's club championship. However, for me, they had some brilliant performances in there. They definitely got some big wins against sides above them. I know they defeated the Harps well at Abbey Park there as well, and made it all the way to a quarter final against Crossmaglen Glen too in the athletic round. So that definitely for me presents a very positive campaign for Car Cruppen. And yes, Blaine Hughes of course won't be with them. However, that's only one loss. Apart from that, they're a full strength side, which definitely is big. And I just feel like, the stars are going to line for them. I think it's a very competitive very competitive league there. When you look at it, of course, I think Silverbridge will be competing. I think Maher will be competing. I even think maybe Drummond Hay could be in the mix there too. So it's going to be very tight, but I think Cruppen might just about slip in there and finish second place and get promoted. But first place, I do agree with you. It should be Clonagale. Obviously got Soupy Campbell with them this year. Shane McPartland as well has opted away from the county panel. And yes, they're missing young Colin O'Neill. I know with the county panel too, he's in the bench quite a few games this year during the league. However, apart from that, as you did say as well, good young players coming through too. Overall, it looks like a Division 1A quality squad there,
Yeah,
and I think Clonagale will
agree with you.
comfortably, I think they'll comfortably win the title this year. So Division 1B then, me and Andrew agreeing once again that Sarsfields and Tullysarn will get relegated. Me and Andrew both agreeing Clonagale will win Division 1B, but Andrew thinks Drummond Hill will go up alongside them. Meanwhile, I do think Carcruppen will go up alongside the Clans then. Moving on to intermediate football then, into Division 2A, starting off with the two relegated sides, Andrew, who have you gone for?
I think this league could be split in half. I think it could be one of four clubs that'll go down. Now, I might get this wrong, but I went for Forkhill, Balik, Ballymacnabb, and Keady. Either one of them four teams, or either two of them four teams will get relegated. I know Ballymacnabb and Keady come up from 2B. Forkhill will have Jamar Hall back this year. Balik's have a very, very good side. They might not be in there, but it's tough to call two to get relegated. If you give me, if you're forcing me to call, I would maybe say Forkhill and Ballymacnabb to get relegated, and then you have Balik and then Keady.
Is that all in order then?
Yeah,
Okay, interesting there. So my relegation is a bit different there. In eighth place, I've got Balik, and in seventh place, I've gone for Derry Noose. Actually, I think Balik, obviously, a big player for them is Colin Neal, and he obviously will not be with them during this league phase. And I do believe that will be a big loss for them. Like, and I mean, once again, it's going to be very tight there, of course. And I do agree with you in the fact that Division 2 probably will be split in half, really. But I'm going to go for Balik to get relegated and rock bottom there, although it will be very tight at the bottom. And in seventh place, Derry News, I think they might just lack a bit of experience compared to other teams here. And I think they will be near enough survival. However, I think they will just about go down there. Sixth and fifth place then, avoiding the drop. Sixth place, they've got Forkhill. I think the addition of Jamar Hall, they'll also have Stephen Sheridan in midfield too. I think the addition of those two players will provide enough county experience there and quality to just about steer Forkhill to survival, which will be absolutely huge for the club too. And I'm going to go for Ballymacnabb in fifth place. And I mean, it's been a fair few years for Ballymacnabb, going from one of the top teams in senior level down to Division 2B last year. It really has been a fall from grace, and I'm not sure even if players like Rory Gregan will be with them this year. Obviously, Jack Gregan was a big loss going to Galway there a few years ago too, but I think they will do enough here to finish in a comfortable mid-table, and from there on, I do believe Ballymacnabb can start their rebuild. So I've gone for Derry News and Ballakes to both get relegated. Meanwhile, I've gone for just about surviving the drop, Forkhill in sixth place and Ballymacnabb in fifth place. On to the top four then, including the sides getting promoted and the side who will win the Division 2 title. Who have you gone for then in the top four promotion race?
you want well, the fourth and third first,
Yeah.
or I went for Derry Noose and Pearse Oaks in third and fourth. I think Pearse Oaks, I know they started the league late last year. I don't know whether it was the numbers or I don't know what was wrong with them, but they played well up until when they got the league started, and I don't think they should have been relegated, but they did, and there's a rebuild on there, and I think they will cement mid-table or fourth place in Division 2A. And Derry Noosh, very young side. I know they're inexperienced, but I think they're more than capable of competing in Division 2A. And I think Division 2A is going to be very competitive this year again with the reshuffle of the leagues. It's hard to call leagues, to be honest with you, but that's what I've went for, Pearse Oaks and Derry Noosh.
Okay, interesting there once again. I know somebody in school who wouldn't be happy with you, Pippin Oaks, to not get promoted back up there to Division 1B. But in fourth place for me, I have gone for St Paul's of Lurgan. I mean, once again, it's going to be very tight there in the top four, but I just about think St Paul's might slip a bit short there in fourth place. I think St Paul's have a very, very good squad there, and I do know that, and I do think they definitely will be in the mix there. However, I think they will just about fall short, maybe falter in the final few matches and miss out there. there on promotion. Third place, then I'm going to go for Katie. I think Katie definitely are in a promotion
Yeah,
race. I think they've got a very good squad there. They were very good in last year's intermediate championship as well. Defeating teams like Ballymacnabb as well there in Cloddy. I do remember watching that match. That was a brilliant match of football there too. But there's a top quality side there in Katie. Good young core players coming through as well, might I add. And they definitely are working their way among the rankings. And in a few years' time, they definitely will be a steady division or a steady senior level side, in my opinion,
and a,
too. So I think
and
Katie
a good
then.
coach as well. They're a very good coach as well, Keita.
Yeah, I think Katie overall they've got a very good side, good coach as you said, and I think they will be in the Rackland here. However, once again, I don't think they're going to get promoted here. It's going to be a very good campaign. They'll come very close. However, I'm going to say they slip short here, finishing third place on the promotion. And finally, Andrew, who have you gone for?
This could flip flop. Um, I've won for the Peters in second, and I've won for St Paul's to win it. I know you're going to disagree with me there, but I know St Paul's are a great championship team, but they have the core there of a great team, young players coming through. Now I know you've Mernon, Ryan Lawless, a bit agey. You've McCampbell up front, who missed out on the championship last year, last couple of games. Fantastic, fantastic player. I just think it's their year to win the league. I think it's their year to step up. And the disappointment of losing I think we've lost 6 finals in the championship. I think they need a league. I think they really, really do need it. And they're putting a lot of work in the background and with their facilities and the team. They're on the up. And I think a league title is in within their grasp this year. Also, the Peters, disappointment from losing senior status last year. But I think they can bounce back. I think they have the makings of a great club again. The underage setup is superb. The under 21s last year were unreal. The seniors, they have a bit of age to them, but there's young players coming through, and it's a wait and see sort of thing with the Peters. But they are a senior club, but happen to be playing intermediate football. And I think they'll bounce back this year, straight back up in second place and St Paul's to win the league.
Yeah, good shouts there, Andrew. I don't. Well, I mean, I will disagree with you in the St Paul's bit there, but I do agree the St Paul's will be in the mix there, and very easily could get promoted. However, I do think they will just about fall short. But in second place, then I've gone for Pierce Oaks. Now I have heard from one person in school that look they have been very good this year. They've been training flat out, and they've got a new coach in from Cavan as well, which is interesting to know too. And there definitely is definitely a positive feel about the club at the minute too, from what I've heard. Now you do have a few players there in the under 20 panel who'll be missing. You got the likes of Michael McSorley, Ryan McGahan as well, and I think it's Callum Hughes too. Those three players, three top quality players, they'll be missing. However, with the under 20 panel for the first few matches anyway. But I mean, listen, I think the O's are a side here definitely on the rise again. They're definitely could in the next 5 or 10 years return to the glory prime days of the noughties as well in the 90s,
Yeah.
etc. as well there too. And I mean, it would be very good to see the Armagh City rivalry between the Harps and the O's really be revived, like, because I think it's been
Yeah.
missing in the county or the club
I think
scene.
it's needed. I think that
Yeah.
rivalry in the city's needed again because you can remember years ago going to them games and they were fiercely contested. The Grimleys, like going back to the noughties, there used to be hundreds of thousands, maybe not thousands, but hundreds of people go to them games because it was that rivalry. That you're either Harps or you're either Pearsons. And I think the city needs it. They need them derbies back again or them clashes where they were talking about for weeks to come or the build up to them. It's happening again because I can see it from talking to people. There's people talking about more about club football at the moment. What these clubs are doing, like you're hearing things and I'm hearing things. These predictions could change halfway through the league, if you know what I mean. It's just our interpretation of last season's form based on how you think they're going to do this year. And I'm looking really, really, I'm looking forward to all these divisions this year.
Yeah, of course. I think I've actually heard back in the 50s, 60s time, apparently Harps Oaks matches, I mean, they were attracting crowds of up to 15,000, 17,000.
Yeah,
It used to be massive, like, and I mean, I think the last time they played in a final was maybe about 2008 time, around that time anyway. But since then, like, the Harps have sort of remained as one of the top teams in the senior level, but the Oaks have really fallen off. But it really does feel like the Oaks are coming back up now. And I think, they have got a very good young core of players coming through as well. I think they'll just about have enough to scrape past the likes of Katie and St. Paul's and get promoted there in second place. But in first place, I have gone for St. Peter's. I mean, as you said, you sung so many praises for them, and I do 100% agree with that. A superb youth setup and structure, superb core of younger players coming through as well, and that's only going to continue to solidify the quality of that side too. And I mean, in general, you got a couple of McConvilles there, I do believe, in that side as well. Here, top quality players, and there'll definitely be top quality players here in Division 2B as well. I just think
yeah,
in general, the St. Peter's side is top quality. And as you said, they're a senior side in intermediate this year. And they proved that in last year's senior championship, making it to the quarterfinals, bringing the finalists in Cullyhanna to extra time as well that night in the
yeah.
athletic round. So, yeah, I think, St. Peter's are top quality side. For me, they're definitely the best side in this division. And for me, they will get promoted with the title in hand. Okay, then. So Andrew's changed his mind here. He said that Ballymcnabb and Balix will get relegated. I have said that Balix and Darionis will get relegated. Andrew has gone for St. Peter's and St. Paul's to get promoted. I have gone for St. Peter's and the Pearse O's to get promoted. Meanwhile, Andrew's predicting St. Paul's to win the Division 2A title, and I'm predicting St. Peter's to win the Division 2A title. On the Division 2B, then, Andrew, as always, your two relegated sides. Who have you gone for here?
I've gone for my mate Rachel's going to fall out with me. Amport Moor and Alnwick. I just think Amport Moor, they were in Division 3 last year, weren't they?
Yeah.
They've fallen out with Ballyhagan last year, and what a titanic struggle that was last year. From from the reports from the games, it was more like a boxing match at times, and you know how tough the Black Watertown boys are, but
Oh, yeah.
I just don't think they're going to do well in Division 2B because there's a lot of good teams in there. And as for Alnwick Moor, they're just the numbers aren't there for Alnwick Moor at the moment, and they're- it's a tough one really to call because I do like Alnwick Moor, but I'm gonna go Alnwick Moor and Amport Moor.
Okay, then. So in eighth place for me, I've gone for White Cross. I just don't know. White Cross has been sort of in and around the bottom half of the table for a few years now, and I feel like their time is almost up now. I've no doubt about it whatsoever. They'll probably bounce right back up. However, I've got them finishing eighth place here, and in seventh place, I probably will agree with you and set Alnwick Moor. Once again, similarly to White Cross, have been dwindling down there for a few years now, and probably could end up bouncing back up. However, I think this year around, them two will get relegated. In terms of them, from sixth place up to third place, in and around the mid table, who have you gone for?
I've gone for Shane's in sixth, and I've gone for Turnogue in fifth, and White Cross in fourth. I think with Shane's, again, they're a very good side on their day. They just get them to play well. Turnogue, a very, very young team, my local club. There was Paul Hendon in the 20s, very, very good player. They were a mix of young players. They're not really that old. I think there's a lot of experience there. You have Burnett, midfielder. Watch out for him. He was playing for Queens this year. Very, very good player. He's a bull. He's played rugby for Portadown Rugby Club, and he is a bull in the midfield. They could go higher up the table, depending on how they start the league, but they are going places, and when they get their team together, they will. I think within the next 5 years, they'll win an intermediate championship, but not this year. And then White Cross, I think. Again, with the reshuffling of this league, it's hard to call. It's just based on opinion and form. I just think there are a mid-table club in Division 2B.
Again, fair enough predictions there. In sixth place for me, however, I have gone for Tiernan. I think, they have sort of been struggling for relegation, and I think eventually those days will peter away, and it'll be more so talking about promotion instead of relegation for Tiernan. However, I think maybe one more year, with players like Paul Andrew not available during the league, and still there's a good young core players there, yes. However, it'll take them a few years to really fully integrate into the
Yeah,
full senior football scene. And so because of that, I do believe Tiernan will have one more year challenging relegation. However, once again, they will survive, and that will definitely set what is going to be the precedent for progress then over the next few years in the intermediate leagues. Fifth place then, I have gone for Clonmore. I think Clonmore, I mean, they have a decent squad. There are a few good young players coming through too. I think they will stay up as well. I think they might struggle at the start. However, as the campaign does go on, I think they will just about survive there as well in fifth place. In fourth place, I am going to go for the Grange there. I think the Grange, it's been a pair few years for them, yes. And I mean, they're a championship club usually, the Grange. I have noticed that over the
yeah,
past few years, especially with Ethan Rafferty coming back to the side too. I don't think they'll be too bad here in the league campaign for the Grange. I don't think the Grange will be too bad here in this league campaign. However, I do suspect them to miss out on promotion. And in third place, then, I am going to go for actually on Portmore. I think Blackwater Town are definitely a dark horse to watch out for in the intermediate scene this year. They've got a very good squad there. They proved it themselves. I mean, I'm actually still stunned they didn't even win the junior championship last year because, I mean, you look at their
yeah,
squad, Justin Kieran, I think it's Cormac Kieran, Ryan Kieran as well. Three Kierans. There are are all three exceptional forwards there too. They've also added, I think it's Conor Lavery from the Armagh Harps too, a decent forward there who's joined the ranks there as well for Blackwater Town. You got Big John McLaughlin there in midfield too, and there is definitely a very good young core players coming through there for Blackwater Town as well. I think Blackwater Town definitely will be an intermediate for a while. I think they definitely are cementing themselves, and I do believe it's going to be a successful first year away from junior football into intermediate football. I think they definitely are going to excel massively. They're actually going to challenge for promotion. However, I do believe they will just about miss out there. So that's my mid table. But Andrew, before we get on to promotion, who have you got in third place?
this could flip flop over the course of the season, but I've went for Grange in third place. As you say, they're more a championship team. No Ethan Rafferty, a big loss. Good core players, but I just think they're not ready for promotion. I think they are a third, fourth place club in Division 2B. Now, Division 2B last year, because of the reshuffle, was very competitive. I think those clubs ended up on more or less the same points because you couldn't predict who was going to beat who last year, and I think it's going to be the same again this year. But Grange in third place.
Okay, then, and then Andrew, of course, top two promoted to Division 2. Who have you gone for?
I've ran for Clonmore in second because coming up from the junior championship last year, I thought they were a fantastic club. They're fantastically run. They've brilliant players. I know they're a bit old, but I just think there's another couple of years in them. I just think there's something happening in Clonmore, and I think they'll finish second. And winning the league, I have Wolf Tones. Wolf Tones last year were superb. Unlucky to miss out on promotion last year. I think that they lost out on the very last day. It was that tight. Great setup, great set of young players, and I think they're ready. I think they're ready to move up the leagues. I think they've acquired tilt at the championship as well, but that's going to talk down the line. Just Wolf Tongues to win Division 2B.
Interesting there once again. And I've got Wolf Tones to get promoted as well. However, I'm going to opt for them in second place here. I mean, Wolf Tones usually do play a bit better in Championship compared to League. However, definitely they're starting to perform a lot better in League 2. And I just feel like, they're one of the best teams in this division. And I just cannot see them missing out in promotion once again here. So I'm going to put Wolf Tones in second place. And in first place, I'm actually going to go for Shane O'Neill's here to go right back up as Division 2B champions. Listen, they're missing the Mackins for sure. Connor Mackin won't even be about at all. Kieran Mackin seem to just be focused on returning to the county setup, and Greg McCabe as well will also be missing too. But I still do feel like, there's more to give from that Shane O'Neill side. They won the Intermediate Championship only a few years ago, let's not forget. And so I just feel like, Division 2B, I feel like, Division 2A is sort of their level, and I just cannot see them slip any further at the minute. So I've got Shane O'Neill's there to win the league in first place. So Division 2B, folks, Andrew, you have said you've put Annaghmore as well as Blackwater Hen to get relegated. I have put Whitecross and Annaghmore to get relegated. And you've said that both Clonmore and Wolf Tones to get promoted. I have gone for Wolf Tones and Shane O'Neill's. I've said Shane O'Neill's will win Division 2B. You have said Wolf Tones will win Division 2B. Or moving on then to Division 3, and I'll just run through my predictions then between 12th and 5th place. So in 12th place, I've gone for St Michael's Killeen, 11th place Mullabrack, 10th Lissummon, 9th Clady, 8th Thomas Davis, Corinchigo, 7th Dorsey Amets, 6th St Michael's Newtown, and 5th Arrow. Andrew, between 12th and 5th, who have you got then?
St Michael's Killeen, Mullabrack, Lissummon, Arrow, Dorsey, and then Thomas Davies.
Okay then, and then going on to top 4, starting off with 3rd and 4th place, Andrew, who have you got just about missing out in promotion?
College Land. I've College Land just missing out in promotion, and then I have Claudy finishing in 3rd. And my top 2 is Raven O'Hanlon's and Ballyhagan. Ballyhagan to win Division 3.
Interesting there once again, and I've actually agreed with you there. I've got Rabin O'Hanlon's in 2nd place, Ballyhagan in 1st place. Rabin O'Hanlon's, we've seen them last year. They made amazing strides, brilliant young players in there too. Really did punch above their weight, and it was brilliant to see, like, for a club like O'Hanlon's from points past, friends of both our channels, I do believe, especially seen on TikTok there as well. Brilliant club, really are brilliant, and I do wish them all the best of luck this year too. And I do believe they will get promoted, like, even though they weren't even in Division 3A last year. And I don't even think they actually got promoted to Division 3A last year either. But still, they were amazing throughout the entire campaign.
I think they were victims of a reshuffle. See, there's a lot of teams there in Division 2B that were in Division 3 last year, so they've had to reshuffle the league, and some teams have missed out, some teams haven't, and I just think this new Division 3 is going to be tough to call until you get the full fixture list and the full watch the leagues the next couple of weeks over the games. You'll know who's firing all cylinders. I know Claudy had a good win last night. I think Claudy, there was 2-14 debates. St Michael's 2-14 to 0-8, I think it was, in the first game last night.
Could have been. I'm not too sure there, but yeah, I mean, Claudy definitely are a decent side. I've got them a bit low down on the table. If I were to change it, probably would put them a bit higher, but we'll leave it as it is, of course. But as I said, O'Hanlon's very good side. We'll probably finish 2nd. 1st place, I would go for Ballyhagan though. Pretty shocking. I was surprised actually to see Ballyhagan weren't in Division 2B. I think they actually were in a promotion spot, but I think Clonmore winning the championship has maybe kept Ballyhagan down there and put Clonmore up instead. So definitely unlucky there from a Ballyhagan point of view. But I mean, they've got a very good squad. There's some good young players like James McCormick too in the forward line as well. They're an exciting side. I'm going to say they'd take this league by storm, and I think they'll win this league very easily, and we'll finish 1st place by at least between 6 or 8 points. So me and Andrew both agreeing there with Ballyhagan and O'Hanlon's to both get promoted, with us both agreeing that Ballyhagan will win the first ever Division 3 title as well. Anyway, folks, that will end today's Armagh Club League 2026 predictions. Hope you have enjoyed it, of course. Massive thanks once again to Andrew for coming on today's show. It has been a bit of a long one, but thank you all, folks, for sticking along to the end there. And I mean, this video will be up already. You probably see this already, but I will have shortcuts along the bottom there. So whichever division you want to see us talk about, you can just pick there along with the cursor, and you can listen to it there, of course. But anyway, folks, thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one here, and stay safe. And I'll see you all in the next one here on KDFG. Cheers, Andrew.